Links to the Slants, JKNews, JK Films, and Go for Broke will also be available in the description of this video. A heartfelt thanks from all of us at thepodcast.com to JKNews and the Slants. Please enjoy.
And hey, this is GunSully for the podcast, and I have with me today Joe Jiang of the Slants, Ken Shima of the Slants, and Simon Tam of the Slants, of TED Talk, of Lee vs. Tam. This is what is the remainder of the Slants. We don't have you yet. That's a whole nother story. So if you, yeah, that's a whole nother. We'll get to that. Anyway, we're going to do a reaction video. There were some shots fired earlier this year by some YouTubers that we all like. Do you guys like JKNews?
All right.
Okay. Maybe
I wouldn't call it shots fired.
Yeah.
I'd say like
shots fired. Yes.
Ping pong balls tossed.
Maybe you guys forgot how horrible those shots were. So we are going to do a reaction video here. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. The iconic.
And is it offensive news?
Maybe.
That's a new one. Submitted by fan since Kapu.
Oh. I roll with the apple
In the cup.
Kapu. A band called The Slants is suing to be allowed to trademark their name. What, somebody else wants it?
Is it racist?
Oh, it's based on...
What's so racist about slant?
Not necessarily based on ching. Okay. That's it.
Is it really mean the eyeball is like a this one?
But slant could also mean like something's just slanted.
Yeah.
It could be a roofing company.
Yeah, it could be anything, but
That is true. Right around when I started this band.
U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, they didn't approve. They refused their trademark because the name is disparaging
To Asian people.
to
Oh,
Asian
that's very
Americans.
nice. That's
Thank
nice.
you guys.
Yeah.
That's helping us
Okay.
out, even though I don't mind that word.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So they actually made him despair.
He just thanked the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office
I think
for
they do.
denying the trademark.
I appreciate what they do sometimes.
I can't. Come on. You're being nice.
Well,
You're being
we
nice.
were applying for a trademark registration, so apparently we are, like appreciative of what they do. Why else would you have applied for their trademark registration?
Yes, you are the patron.
Thank you, USPTO.
Yes. Okay. You guys are being so civil.
I don't mind it if, yeah, even if someone was like called the Chinks.
It wasn't that sandwich place, Chinks.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I didn't care.
Oh, they switched it to what?
Chinks Philly cheesesteak or something like that.
Yeah, it was like Phillips, and the reviews were bad after that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, so
It doesn't hurt me.
this band is an all Asian American band from Oregon.
Oh, come on, give them the name.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're from Oregon.
Slants, I fucking love that.
That's like we can't like NWA can't be called NWA because it's
Niggas with attitude, right?
There was...
Is it trademark?
But remember when Nas tried to put out his album,
Yes,
and he
it
called it
is.
nigger? Dude, they had to take it off.
Wow.
Yeah, so, or some shit like that.
Maybe they have to change it to slants with attitude. SWA.
Yeah.
Southwest
My
Airlines.
SWA exists as a group.
What is it?
SWV.
Oh, that is me.
What is SWA?
I fucked up.
Confused me.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
Southwest Airlines.
this band,
That line.
they acknowledge that the name may be offensive, but they chose it because they want to reappropriate its meaning.
How many Erhus they?
Yeah, is that accurate? Is that what you guys? Were you just trying to reappropriate the meaning?
I think I can remember this particular article that she's reading from, but I can't remember which source it is exactly. I know they actually had a lot of the facts kind of wrong, which was kind of funny. Well, no, for us, it wasn't necessarily to reappropriate it. That was one of many different meanings. The reason why I chose the band name was because it has a lot of different meanings. Reappropriation is one of them, but I would say we didn't reappropriate the term slant. I would say Asian American activists reappropriated like 30 years ago with all the amazing things they've already been doing. Slant magazine, slant TV, slanted screen, all these things they've been like using it. We were just honoring the work of other activists who were using it as a badge of self-empowerment. So it's not like we're doing it. Other people did it. We're just like paying them kind of a nod to do that.
And it's like a double entendre, layers upon layers kind of reference.
Yeah, because for me, when I started, it was about a perspective, my slant on life, what it's like to be a person of color, and then my really obscure musical reference that nobody ever gets, that, you know, we use slant guitar chords and slant guitar cabinets. Yeah, that's right.
Slant guitar chords.
Yeah, but nobody ever gets it.
I didn't get it.
That's
I'm a
breaking.
terrible
That's
guitarist.
breaking news. The podcast just broke some breaking news. Slant guitar chords was a hidden reference in the name of the Slants. Okay. Awesome.
He's broken that news in the past.
Well, it just broke for me. You Cthulhu shirt wearing guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
back to
They
this.
have in the band.
Urhus. I don't know what that is.
This guy is like substantially older than me.
I love how they're
He's actually not. He's
like a Chinese restaurant or something.
They probably did.
So
You
it's
talking
in the
about Tyler?
band.
What kind of music do they make? Are they good?
Sorry, Tyler.
She said rock, yeah.
Sorry,
No, I
Tyler.
didn't say rock, but you guessed it. Yeah.
I thought you said a rock band.
Maybe.
Dumpling, dumplings, put in my mouth.
It's just a band.
Wonton noodle.
Okay. They just suggested that your music was about dumplings and wonton noodles.
Hold up.
Yeah, that's how
To
it
be
is.
fair,
Actually,
like the working titles of almost all our songs actually are names of Asian food dishes.
okay.
For example, our song "You Make Me Alive" that was
Yeah.
originally called "Baby Got Bok Choy." We had, you know, "Who Shot the Radio" was called "Shumai." We were just talking about dumplings. Too bad ping pong dumplings is really expensive, but you know, dumplings. Ping pong dim sum, yeah. Hargao was another one. I mean, so it's just kind of in there. We have fun working titles.
So
Plus, we're talking about reappropriated words. One of our favorite musical groups, the notorious MSG.
That's right.
Their songs, they talk about wontons all the time.
That's
except
right.
in their case, wontons are referring to the. That's
Well,
the,
you know,
the Zaftig.
Yeah. But you know,
Daftig, that's right.
That's the Yiddish for.
Well, they also talk about the egg rolls.
yeah, the egg rolls.
That'd be the male version.
I don't need to gesture the egg roll.
And then they
but,
also say like, "Hey, don't be a chicken if you want beef."
Yeah. See, I mean, so we're
There
not
we
the
go.
first. We won't be the last.
Okay. All right.
But I would
So-
say they were the best. In
They
terms
are
of, like,
absolutely the
throwing
best.
down the
All right.
rhymes
All right.
around food.
Well, I still think that there were some attempted shots fired. So I want a fair assessment of their musical abilities. What did you think of their?
I wouldn't call it music. I think they're just.
Ooh,
hanging
shots
out.
fired! The Slants.
I think
Diss.
that guy was a better air guitarist than I was.
All right.
You should enter an air guitar.
Yeah, I'll
competition.
lose to him.
And I don't think I could play the recorder like that or whatever
Yeah.
that was.
That was
Yeah, he's the mudda best at recorder.
Chashu Park.
China beers. Okay.
Yeah, they call it dance rock.
Dance rock, like LMFAO kind of.
Track number 2, negative reinforcement.
What other songs do they have?
Huh? Negative reinforcement.
What other song?
Bing bao, bing bao.
Okay.
Sing tao, sing tao.
Maybe your mother love you.
Yeah, but I love you.
Be not good enough.
Conditional love.
Conditional love.
What about their album?
Beat you down.
Beat you down. I like that.
A minus, you die.
A minus, you die. Beat you down. Oh, this is dude.
Dude.
That's fucking tight.
Compare you to your cousin.
That's my
Compare you
favorite.
to your
That's my
guy.
favorite right there. That's so good.
So you like all the Asian parenting
Yeah.
jokes? Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I think that last one was the best.
It's legit, man.
Okay.
He couldn't find his mouth. He was like,
Your cousin.
that was fucking funny. Compare it to your cousin.
I got it.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it was
this
kinda like when we were
band
doing
tried.
the Daily Show, and they were doing this running joke where they had Ronnie Chang trying to drop as many like offensive, weird
Band names.
Asian kind of band names as possible, and he's like "Gook Face Killer," He had a whole, like, it was like a non-stop. In fact, they edited out probably like 20 or 30 of them, and then we were just sitting there like helping him think of new ones too.
Well, that actually is an awesome thing. So you were part of like the writers' room, sort of like.
I mean,
humor
well, the producer already
teaching.
kind of wrote out the whole thing, and then they're just like, I mean, they had interview questions, and we could answer however we wanted, but whenever he had to do something kind of weird or silly, it was just like, don't react. So we just have to like stare or something like that.
Has he ever thought of working for the Supreme Court? Because they did about the same thing, coming up with crazy hypothetical names there. That was brilliant. Okay, I'm sorry.
Peace Park.
Their first attempt to register their band name was in 2011, and so they sued after they were refused. And so
2011 was the
this
second.
case is reaching the U.S. Supreme Court now.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're saying that
It's not worth it.
How much money is it costing to get all the way over here?
There might be a lawyer, like a civil rights defense lawyer or something, that's willing to take the case.
Or priest.
Yeah, well, the lawyer for the band leader says that his client was following in the long tradition of reappropriation in which members of minority groups have reclaimed terms that were once directed at them as insults and turned them outward as badges of pride.
I don't want that as a badge of pride.
ACLU had a lawyer, amazing lawyer, that spoke on behalf of us. Well, not on behalf, but spoke.
Lee Rowland,
Lee
like
Rowland.
she was at oral arguments at the federal
Awesome.
circuit,
Oh, wow.
and she killed it like 10 minutes.
So good.
And she was like on fire, shutting those judges
Yeah.
down, all 12 of them.
And this is from coming from the USPTO office. His lawyer basically like just giving up like halfway through. You can see it in his body. He was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
this
well,
is not my
okay, first
scene.
of all, that I felt bad for the guy because he was stumbling so badly, and just like I could have went up there and corrected him on the differences between trademark and copyright and the nuances of the law, and he had 11 attorneys with him, and they're all like scrambling and handing him notes and stuff, and he's just reading them. He was and just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's
intense. It's like a cage match.
Yeah.
But like 12 on 1.
Yeah.
So like I was sympathetic because I was like, man, I would not want to be in that situation.
The division that I had when I was there was literally, imagine like a Roman Colosseum, and like the king or the justice, they were just like throwing like lions and, like, at the guy.
I was like picking up a lion. Here's a lion.
Here's another
Here's
one.
a bear.
Here's 2 more.
Someone's like, here's a rabbit. I don't want to throw the lion.
He's even overwhelmed by the rabbit.
Yeah, he's over. He's like, this is the worst rabbit
It's
ever.
like a rabbit. Yeah, Monty Python.
That's awesome.
But that's what it was like in there. It was like a pit, and then whatever attorney was up, they were the target now of every single judge.
Our lawyer got like socked in the face a couple of times too. But then Lee Rollins like showed up, and she was just like,
it was like she was the one in the Matrix. She was,
yeah. No, all the like the animals fly at her and just stops and then drops to the ground.
And she'd just be like, okay, and then just like, but I mean, she was not like, didn't even flinch. She was just like, no, that's not how the law works. Here's the Constitution. Here's this case. I mean, it was like, whoa.
I was trying to describe, because I got into the Supreme Court stuff just because of you guys. Like I didn't know that you could go to the Supreme Court website and download MP3s of Supreme Court hearings, and I did that for you guys. My wife actually read the thing because she can read. I can't, so I downloaded it.
Well, I'll tell you.
Listen to it.
The best version of this is someone took the audio from it and put it to dogs that represent different Supreme Court justices.
I've heard about this.
Yes. Well, last week tonight, John Oliver's show actually put up all this free footage, so someone recreated the entire argument with that. So that's the best way to hear it.
I described the concept of a Supreme Court hearing, or just basically any court late hearing like that, is like a reverse sci-fi convention. And we're at a con right now, so...
Otakon?
Otakon 2017. I almost went back in time.
Anti-social news podcast 2017.
Yes. Okay, so it's 2017, and we're at Otakon, and the concept of the Supreme Court is like a reverse science fiction panel where the panel asks crazy hypotheticals at the audience and puts them on the spot, and that's I think it was Kagan asked your lawyer was it Ron? I can't remember what his name was.
No, it was John who was arguing.
Yeah, the at the Supreme Court level, it was, and he was unflinching when she asked the question. I'll still remember this. What if it was a white supremacist band and they were wearing yellow face with slanted eye makeup, which I don't even know what slanted eye makeup is.
Justice Roberts.
It was the
very first question.
It was. I thought it was one of the females that asked that.
Roberts first.
Roberts
question.
asked that.
Like,
all I remember is
everything.
like your lawyer, no flinching, just goes freedom of speech. Yes, I would defend that.
Yeah.
Like no flinching, no hesitation, and I was just still like, white supremacist, slanted eye makeup, and I'm like trying to think of the logistics of the makeup. I'm like,
yeah,
what? Where did they even come up with this idea?
The reality is that has nothing to do with the trademark registration, anyways. Like that's the thing. It has nothing to do with the trademark registration. Because we can go up there and, wear the same kind of makeup. We can make ridiculous caricatures of ourselves, but that doesn't change the application.
No. All right. Let's get back to these shots being fired.
It don't even sound cool.
The slant sounds dope.
Oh, I was thinking the word chink. I'm sorry, continue. I was in my own world. I'm sorry.
Okay, Gio loves you guys. You cut that right off. All the love is from Gio.
I don't want that word chink. It doesn't sound cool.
Yeah, so they're saying that the ruling for this case could impact the high-profile case of the American football team, the Washington Redskins. So, in 2014, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office canceled the team's 6 trademarks, including the lucrative team logo, after years of complaints from Native American groups.
Oh yeah, what happened to that team?
It makes sense because I feel like it has to be the word and the whatever, it has to be owned by the people.
Yeah.
That it's being labeled as. And so if they're Asian American, then they have the ownership of the word.
Does that mean the biker gang can't be called Mongols anymore? We gotta take that back? Have to come up with
It has to be Mongolians.
Because it's all Mexicans, but now we gotta take it back.
It's Mexicans and white people.
The Redskins lawyers, they noted that other offensive names have previously been approved by the Patent Office, including trademarks for Yellowman, Redman, Blacktail, Jap, and Mooney.
Redman? You talking about
What's a Mooney?
I don't know what a Mooney is.
Redman and Mythman.
Mooney is originally referred to the cult.
Okay.
The Moonies. But because of someone's religion, they're like, oh, it could be someone. The logo for Moonies was actually someone pulling their pants down, mooning. So they thought they could be, the kind of universalist kind of jab at them.
That's funny.
But it actually, like, a whole lot worse has been registered than just those. Most of them people don't even print.
What was Jap?
Jap? Short for Japanese.
Yeah, I got that.
Oh,
but
no,
what was
an acronym actually.
What was the trademark?
Stood for Jewish American Princess.
Now, I've heard that said, but like that was a trademark?
Yeah, a registered
Somebody trademarked that.
Every single slur you could ever think of for an Asian American is a registered trademark.
And we brought up cheese nips earlier today. Yeah, that was
Ken's next Halloween costume.
right.
He's gonna hold a block of cheese next to his face.
I'm sure he's gonna say something about it soon, so I can.
They took those. They weren't allowed.
Those were all approved.
They were approved. Jap man?
No, Jap.
Oh.
I didn't even know Jap was offensive for the longest time.
Because Jap just sounds like the short
More of Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know nips, right?
Nips, the cheese nips.
No, it's candy.
Oh, I thought it was like cheese nips.
Well, there's also cheese nips, but then there's nips, the candy. It's like a caramel
for
type.
another Asian group, not even Japanese, and then this year it was like, no, it's short for Nippon, and I was like, I'm not offended.
Well, it's kind of like the old slur heap, short for Hebrew.
Right. Well, and I have to say, that's nip for Nippon is weirdly culturally sensitive. Because
you have to know
exactly.
Name for Japan.
You have to at least know the real name for
It's
Japan.
like, I'm a racist who reads.
Right.
Culture racist.
I feel like it offends people that were born or that were alive during
that time. Yeah.
In my Asian American history classes, when I saw the whole Japanese going into internment camps, they had signs that were like "slap the Jap," and then that was a derogatory term.
The nips.
Nips and Japs.
Slap the Jap. Eat a cracker Jap.
But I think in Australia,
Still thinking about track.
they use that as
half
a.
white, half Japanese person, or like a basketball team full of Japanese and white people, like some sports team, the Cracker Japs.
Or a tasty snack. Fusion food.
I do think it sounds delicious for somebody. Now that I'm thinking that, like, now that I'm associating Japanese people slurs with Cheez-It knockoffs, now it's like Cracker Japs.
Cracker Nips.
I'm guessing it's like Cracker Jacks, but with like Japanese.
But like those rice
like,
crackers instead. dipped in
yes,
cheese.
and like Cheez-It.
All right, guys, I'm really hungry. I haven't eaten
Oh,
since
gosh.
my $13 smoothie that I had this morning. All right, I'm
you had some.
hungry.
You had some vegan jerky. That
I did have
tastes,
some vegan
like, very
jerky.
weird. And
That sounds disgusting.
you should have eaten when I offered earlier.
As a cool slang.
Jap?
Yeah, they're like, oh, she's Jap. Or whatever, I heard it.
Yeah, it sounds so like normal. It's just like shortening it.
I think it's just the history of how it was used.
She's Mex.
I didn't know that Jap was derogatory until I started taking Japanese class. And I said, I was like, oh yeah, he's like, you Jap? And she was like, the hell? I was like, what the fuck? Is that offensive?
Oh, you said
Yeah, I didn't know Jap was. I was lazy. I just shortened that shit. I said Jap because I equated to Viet.
Yeah.
Viet pride. You know what I mean?
Chai?
Filipino flip.
Chai for Chinese?
Okay,
I thought Flips was bad though.
Yeah, can we call in
Well,
your
it's kind of a
executive
reboot.
producers?
yeah, call in the executive producer or the
No, they
what is-
refused. The
is
person.
it? Wait,
I didn't know that.
okay.
Sully's
You don't
wife
know
and
if
his
it's-
sister-in-law is like banished into the corner of the
Well,
hotel
they
room right
they
now.
are camera shy. I offered to have them like sit-
Participate.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing is,
They're
like about
hiding.
anything like
Okay.
that, words change over time.
Yes, but
It's about the meaning that we give it to them.
I have been told that flip is contextual. Like
it is.
if
Some Filipinos use it.
right, if somebody says
Just
like
Is that true?
I didn't even know that term.
Yeah. There's actually organizations and like they do like ball caps and T-shirts that say flip.
yeah, I could see it being 100% contextual because I've heard that it's like there's not like a negative connotation towards it. So basically, if somebody was like, I love flip food, there's all sorts of great restaurants here. It's not like, whoa, you can't say that. But obviously, if somebody is like, damn, flips are taking good jobs or
Yeah,
something,
but
you know.
what?
it's
You
like,
can say the
I don't
same
know.
thing about the word Chinese.
Right.
Last election, every time the word China
Same
dropped.
about the word stupid.
China.
Can't you?
China.
Yeah.
Ah,
Then it made
stupid.
it
Or like,
seemed like-
stupid.
Yeah, exactly. It's all contextual. All right. Cleared that up. We cleared nothing up. I'm still.
Yeah, no, we cleared it out.
Shy, like Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just assumed that it was okay.
Shy pride, man.
I did, yeah. Shy pride. Shy pride.
Shy fry.
Shy city, bitch. Shy country.
I guess I'm shy.
Yeah, so the U.S.
Are you
Supreme
from
Court
what?
has agreed to hear
Oh,
the
Chi-
band's
oh,
case,
CH.
and hearings
You
will
know,
begin.
Chicago or
Yeah, I was
something?
about to say.
And
I was like,
Well, they just said Chicago.
I was like, man, you have
Chi-town.
you are like the most West Coast accent I've ever heard from somebody from Chicago.
But he didn't
Yeah.
live on the West Coast.
No, I'm from
Seriously?
Atlanta, Georgia.
He moved there after, China until 10,
Yeah,
then
it's-
Atlanta, then what?
China
Connecticut.
doesn't count.
Wait a minute. You actually lived in China, so you're 10?
Yeah,
That's where he was
I'm
born.
Chinese.
You
Chinese.
have like
I speak good English.
zero
I speak
accent.
good English.
No,
Speak
you have
English well.
you have
I
no
speak
no
good
no.
English.
It's
You
not.
speak it.
No, it's
No,
not
no,
about. It's
No,
not
I was
about.
seriously born and raised in China, and I was talking to somebody at the con yesterday. He actually even said or actually this morning, he was like, you know what? I could kind of tell you're a little fobby, and I'm like, I think so too. I do feel it a little bit. Fresh off the boat ish.
Which is another.
Yes.
Which is not the
okay.
case. I think
But the
I
thing
think
is,
it has to do with if
We
I
need to
was in
do-
a Chinese crowd, I can absolutely be the most Chinese of all the Chinese.
Okay.
He's
you
way
can
more
turn it
Chinese
on and
than
off.
me.
This
Yeah.
is what you're saying. You can just turn it on and off.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
called
assimilation.
code switching.
Assimilation.
Now,
That's part of it.
you said Atlanta, Georgia for a while, so
Yeah.
like sweet tea, y'all, and darling are in your
Pretty
vocabulary
much.
too.
Damn was the word. I was
Okay.
like, damn, all the time.
Damn.
All right.
All the time. And whenever I go back, I get a little bit of draw, and it's a little bit. I mean, but it's not even that's not even the right draw, but it just starts to speak a little more
Slowing down.
a little more.
You're so basically you are like a full what's that called, a chameleon like
but
vocally.
In language, they call it code switching.
Code
you
switching.
switch
You kinda have
seamlessly
to.
between identities.
Well, so imagine this: China,
Yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, Connecticut, Eugene, Oregon, and then New York.
Wow.
Living in all those places for like a long period of time for each place. You just blend in.
Yeah, it's like a military brat, but not,
Yeah,
no military.
exactly.
Much brat.
Oh, that's awesome.
But much
Okay,
brat.
okay.
You brat much.
To last several months.
That's not even worth it. That's so un-Asian of you guys, dude.
I'd rather just like keep making music.
Un-Asian of you guys.
To what?
That was to fight the court case that long. I believe is what they were saying.
That's the American in him.
Cool.
Yeah.
Against the norm.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's what we are. That's who we are.
I don't know. I see a lot of fighting spirit from North Korea right now.
Oh God.
Let's not take North Korea.
I'm just saying.
Music.
I know.
I do want to hear what the music sounds like.
So technically, the reason why you get a trademark is you want to protect that name, right?
Who's gonna steal that shit?
They're not gonna allow you to get that name. That means no one else can have that name. So why don't you just operate with that name?
What if they get super popular and then other people want it?
But no one could take it.
But then other people could use it.
Unless someone else comes in with a stronger lawyer, then they own it.
Yeah. Or you might want to start using slants.
My name is Slants.
How do we stop this fool from using slants?
Yeah, like for merch and stuff like that.
I'd rather have a name like Chingaling.
Oh, dope name.
Yeah, Chingaling. If I was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna get something that's really used to put us down, and I'm gonna make a cool like name out of it. It's not. I don't think I would use Chink or Jab or like.
It'd be Ching Chong.
Huh?
Ching Chong Ling Mong.
Ching Chong Ding Dong.
Ooh.
Nah, I'd be like, I don't know, like what's it? I don't know.
I don't know any too many derogatory Asians. Zipperhead.
Zipper, yeah.
What does that mean?
But these are old World War II.
Did anybody
It's
know?
a violent term.
What is it?
Splitting people's heads open.
Yeah, but what does that do with Asians?
And then it left.
It was.
Tire tracks. They would target Asians.
Oh, specifically Asians?
But
It's in the movie Gran Torino.
I was about to say. Did anybody know that term before Zipperhead? Outside of like Vietnam vets and stuff like that. You
Yeah,
know?
I heard it. It's pretty obscure.
Oh
But
yeah. Okay.
I only thought zipperhead was because Japanese people invented zippers.
Did they really?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that a real?
That's why it says like YKK on it.
Is it
I wish I
actually
knew what
true?
it stood for, but it's Japanese.
I want to Google this right now.
Do it.
Well, I know there's initials on there.
It's,
every
it's
zipper,
YKK. It's
But I don't
like-
know what the initials stand for. Or if it is actually Japanese in the origin.
100%.
Zippers.
110%.
Zippers come from Japan. News just broke.
I don't know.
We broke
I don't
news.
think that is
My
broken
bros are
news.
News
looking at-
broke on the
I'm
podcast.com.
phone right now. And I'm just gonna sit here and waiting.
All right, and I'm stealing.
No,
I'm
my
still-
fidget spinner!
I'm stealing Joe's
I got it
fidget
for
spinner.
free, thank you.
Stole Joe's fidget spinner.
Thank you, At.
Okay, all right.
So
We
the
have to find this
patent
out.
was from the U.S., but that's a patent, so that doesn't count.
Just even
Well,
look
we
up
already know.
YKK
We already
stands
know
for.
the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office can be a
It
little
debu-
shady,
okay, so the
especially
zipper-
towards Asians.
No, Zipper debuted in 1893 in the World's Fair in Chicago. Then it was redesigned by Gideon Sunback in Hoboken, New Jersey. That's the patent you're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
I'm seeing this Japanese thing here.
nothing here.
Get on Snopes. Look on Snopes.
YKK is probably Japanese.
It could have been a.
There we go. Yeah, YKK is Japanese, one of the biggest companies.
So this is a company.
Founded in 1934.
So 1934, but so that was 40 years after they was debuted, and that was 20 years after the guy actually filed the patent for it in New Jersey.
Oh, I wasn't even. I was not gonna say it was an American invention.
So Mr. Whitcomb Judson invented it in 1851. He called it the Pneumatic Street Railway. Oh no, he also invented the Pneumatic Street Railway, but he called the zipper the clasp locker. Wow.
Okay, the zipper was invented in 1851 by a guy named Judson. News just broke. here on the podcast.
You broke the news and then you
News
re-broke
just
what you
broke.
broke because it was broken.
Yes,
Yeah, the
exactly.
news
Like
was
zippers.
broken.
The news was fixed. We broke it, then fixed it, then re-broke it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get back.
Okay.
Like
Zipper.
people stop saying them.
So like you would run over Asian people with your tanks and your trucks, and there'd be tire marks all
Oh
over
my
their
gosh,
face.
look
So
at
they're
her
called
face.
zipperhead.
Goop.
Yeah,
That's
goop.
horrible.
I always thought it was gook for hanguk.
That's what I thought too, but it's a general term for everybody, all Asians.
But it came from the Korean War, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then they just brought it up into the Vietnam War.
Hanguk means Korean?
Yeah, Hanguk.
But none of them sound like bad. Like, oh, it hurt.
What
You
about
know?
like Oriental?
I never thought Oriental was...
I've never heard it.
It sounds fancy.
I like Oriental.
Fancy.
What are you, Oriental?
Why, yes, I am Oriental.
Hey, my mom uses the word Oriental.
Yeah, would you like to have an Oriental bath? Am I
It's like the Oriental ramen flavor.
It does just literally mean Eastern, which is super vague. Though.
Wait, hold up. It's not even just. Oh yeah, totally. East,
Yeah.
like East, like Turkey.
Yeah, exactly.
Persia?
Well, it was originally kind of Persian. But the reason why it's considered offensive is because it's an old term that kind of references subjugated status, kind of like the term Negro is kind of gone out of fashion, or colored person is out of fashion, and now people use person of color. So all these things are just bits of language that change over time.
Right.
You're a person of Orient.
What did you
Person of Orient.
What did you think of Ching Chong being like?
I think they were talking about the song.
No. Crap.
I'm trying to think of the name, right?
Yeah, the guy wearing the cape, not David So.
But it's
his-
for us.
his
It's
idea,
like saying Negro.
His idea of having Ching Chong be a better name than the Slants.
I don't know. Start a new band.
Yeah,
Call it
yeah, that's
Ching Chong, I don't care.
Dude, everybody has recorders.
Colored people.
In the U.S.
In the U.S. But then in the U.K. they say
We tour
Oriental all the
together.
time.
Australia too.
Asian.
Actually,
yeah.
I was super jealous
For
of
us,
this
I
other
don't know.
band
I think
name
it's because
that someone came up with called Super Chink. I was like, that's way more badass.
Yeah.
It has super in the name.
the
It
words
does
that
have.
were
We could be Super Slants.
used at the time bring back bad memories. That's why they don't want to use that word, even if it didn't mean something bad.
There's no like derogatory word for white people. It's cracker, and I love crackers. So it's like I don't know.
Wet bodies.
White bread.
What's up? No melanin, skin cancer. What's up, freckles? I don't know. I don't know what the.
Within white people, they have stuff like ginger.
Oh, how cute.
With the ER, oh my goodness. What's up? Cool blue eyes.
There's actually a lot of slurs for Caucasian people. There's obviously cracker and honky. Those are actually pretty like old style, but actually nowadays police and white people will get yelled at because they'll get called names based on the news, like they'll be associated with some high profile racist.
Yeah, David Duke.
They'll be called Trump supporter. They'll be called racist. They'll be called, and sometimes that is a pretext to literally be drug out of your car, attacked. I've personally been attacked. I've been called Zimmerman and attacked because of the Trayvon. I mean, I'm trying to read a book and I get called that and attacked. So yeah, there are slurs for Caucasian people.
That's actually
David.
The Zimmerman one is still like that's such a deep level of complexity to it.
And
because that's a weird.
Also, he wasn't
anti-black, anti-white, and that's like a weird combination.
He also wasn't white though. Too.
Exactly.
It's another
What I'm saying,
confusing
that was a
element.
big.
Well, he was white passing and part Hispanic. That's the thing is we know that those with fairer skin, even amongst people of color, get better treatment than those with darker skin, whether it's in the black community or immigrant communities.
Right, but using his name as a slur or call to violence against somebody 100% unrelated, is bad.
It's bad, but I think it is complex because
it's not complex if you're just trying to finish reading your book and then people come up and start yelling Zimmerman and punching you.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's complex in that, like if we look at this larger picture of why we have violence to begin with, it's because we have systemic and institutionalized discrimination that creates aggravation.
Those people were blaming systemic violence as a reason to just attack me physically and punch me with their fists.
No, I get that.
So So yeah, that is them being racist towards me and using violence against me. So, no complexity there. They were using racism as an excuse to attack.
I actually agree. That particular situation, that particular one moment when he gets punched.
But and that's the thing. That was not like a lone situation. I was one of those guys working law enforcement that just wanted to get done with my shift. So
we also
never, and I would never ever would I like seek out trouble, and people would be antagonizing me.
But see, I think that adds another layer to that complexity. Wearing like any kind of uniform authority, because it puts that into that context.
Yeah, but if you are then projecting all your preconceived notions of that authority onto every single member of that job, it would be like me saying all musicians do heroin.
That's actually basically, I mean, that's part of the racism part of it too.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's like reactionary. It's often
that's what I'm saying.
And it's like that's the thing. I would never think that somebody would do something. I would never say, "Oh, you are wearing a Cthulhu shirt. Clearly, you have read every Lovecraft book ever, and you eat babies." Like, I know that like sometimes those are just funny shirts. Yeah. So like, I know it's I don't have preconceived notions about people. Right. And but I would have 100% people coming up and just yelling at me because they know everything about me. Because
actually, what do you think about being the shit end of the stick? Because there are a lot of people that end up being on the shit end of the stick. Yeah. And so in that situation, I mean, you're in the same boat as a lot of people. Like I've actually honestly never had that bad of any kind of experience like that.
Yeah.
But there are definitely people that just because the way they looked, the way they did something very small,
the way they speak.
anything, literally. What do you think of that as far as humankind?
I mean, I think for me, it's just made me like more grizzled. Like I just like get more used to stuff. I can tune people out better, and I can always like know which fights are worth fighting because I'd always have coworkers going, "You can't let so and so talk. You can't let that person talk to you like that." And it's like, why? Like they're over there, They said what they said and they're off. That's fine. Like I don't fly off the handle at every little thing because I've dealt with this my entire life where like either I'm because like you I moved all over. I had no friends. And every place I go I had to make and I'm short, all these weird little things. I'm city when I'm country in the country. I'm country when I'm in the city. I'm too light when I'm this part. I'm too Jewish when I'm over in this part. So I've always been like out, and so you just sort of have this like thick skin where it's like, I don't know, I can just feel like I can go with anything because I've been on the shit end of the stick for so much.
Do you feel like that's something that you can just isolate into one thing? Or do you want to look at it from a bigger system? Because that's the difference between the two of your like conversations right there, which is what happened to you in that particular situation and other ones.
Yeah.
It's a very isolated in one way, but at the same time, it's also part of a bigger thing. It's just how do you want to approach it? In the moment, that fucking sucks. Absolutely no complexity to it at all. It's very simple. You got to attack.
Yeah, and it is one of those things where I've had similar situations like that, and I feel like there's people that basically when I'd be working in areas that were really rough, there would be let's say it'd be a area with 1,200 people, like 1,100 of those people would be trying to better themselves and like get a better life. 100 of those people would be making life hell for everyone else. And that 100 people that would always be getting in trouble, getting arrested, having parties, bringing fights from other places into the neighborhood and the community, that 100 people, they would be the ones causing the trouble. And then whenever the situation would come in, then it is, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me, and it's only happening to me because of either my race or ethnicity or gender. And it's like, no, there are 1,100 other people of your exact situation, of your exact race, of your exact socioeconomic class who are not causing this trouble. And I mean, for me, I was raised in a multi-ethnic, multiracial family, and for me, it really ground home the thought that there really is no need for racism. People really are just either shitty or good, and there are just shitty people who will use excuses. And I saw that so many times where, I mean, whether they're using as an excuse to antagonize somebody else, or, you know, you'd be in an area where it would be 100% black population. So a black person would call the police. When the officers would show up, it would be mostly black police officers. And then while the person who was, you know, attacking black people is getting arrested, then it is, this is because I'm black. And they're like, no, it's not. It's because you were attacking a black person. The black person called the police on you because you were attacking them. And yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know. For me, it just kind of nailed home that there's honest people and there's dishonest people. Yeah.
But both dishonest people and honest people and good people and bad people live in a social structure that is unfair, that is unjust.
Yeah, but it wasn't unfair to the people that I was seeing get arrested.
No, but
and the people,
the thing.
The people that attacked me and all get arrested. Like, honestly, like, you got to know there are bad people out there. And there are dishonest people out there.
With that,
and they like,
why are they bad?
You have done because they're sociopaths. There are sociopaths out there, and those sociopaths. All people are sociopaths. Not all. Did I say all people?
I'm saying that.
No, like there are sociopaths out there, and if those sociopaths have
what you're
have something
here
to
is that there are some good people who are driven to absolutely terrible behaviors because of the conditions they're placed in.
No, I mean that could be the case for some people, but I am telling you, I have seen sociopaths. People who beat their wives.
Sure.
And then when they're getting arrested for beating their wife, it's because they're black.
That's not the truth, though.
I know that's not their truth. I know. I'm saying they are sociopaths, and then they're lying about something else to try to get out of trouble, because that's what sociopaths do.
Correct. But there are other people who are genuinely put into these conditions and who are genuinely targeted because of some aspect of their identity.
Absolutely.
And I think it's that targeting and that common experience that drives a lot of people these behaviors.
The problem that I've seen though is that you do have a lot of people who prey on sympathies. If you are sympathetic to think that the institution is the problem, when you hear, and I've seen the manipulation happen instantaneously, where when somebody starts screaming racism, a crowd gathers. And that crowd is going, I've heard about this, this is bad, this is a problem, this is the worst thing ever. Even though the person just got done assaulting a woman. And now they're screaming racism, and a crowd is gathering to defend that person, not knowing that they just assaulted a woman, and it was on camera. So that whole crowd that thinks that they're fighting racism are really defending a guy who just smashed a woman into the ground.
Yeah,
and it makes everybody look foolish.
Well,
it
but I think that's conflating
these
individual incidents with an overwhelming social structure that allows for these things to occur. Because even when a no crime is committed and someone is punished and sometimes euthanized by the system, by law, that's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
And it's because of all these
You're talking about like falsely accused people.
Yes, or arrested for false charges, or sometimes shot and killed. I mean, there have been numerous, like over 700 of them this year. So we know it happens, and this is what drives people. So when they hear that it's possibly happening again, of course they're going to be like suspicious.
Yeah.
And that's just a natural human inclination, because we want to be empathetic to
yeah,
people
I mean, I understand that, but I just I've seen so many situations of people being manipulated.
Oh,
so yeah, don't.
But you both are in the same boat, that there are bad, and in your case you're thinking of a bigger number, and he's definitely thinking of a smaller number. There are definitely bad people. They're bad, but there are people that are in situations that are bad.
Right, and I definitely think that there is some deep issues with racism in a lot of law enforcement communities. Not the entire law enforcement community, I will say, because federally it is literally illegal to have those racial biases. But I do think that in areas like I personally witnessed in Baltimore, I witnessed the municipal police saying stuff like this is a black
fairly
neighborhood.
broad.
Yeah,
I think it happens all across the board.
But
like I've been in a vehicle stopped because I had a white woman passenger and have a police officer say, "Do you feel safe? Are you here against your will?" And it'd be like my girlfriend.
Where was
like
this?
That. Both in San Diego, California, and in Portland, Oregon.
Wow.
Like, clearly identifying that situation as like, she's potentially in danger. And that was the only excuse for pulling me over.
That's really shocking.
But
did you have a bunch of Yakuza tattoos?
No, I had nothing.
Okay.
It's just, I don't even have a tattoo. But like,
just like
I have other friends who've gone through the same
face.
experience. And I'm like, I can't believe like how many of us have like shared that experience.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so degrading to just be in that situation and have somebody who, you know, has the full authority of the state to do almost anything they want without, I mean, this is prior to body cams or anything.
Right.
Like, what do I do in this situation? I couldn't say anything. And I just had to.
What year was this?
Once was 99, and then the other was around 2000. Let's see, probably about 2009, 2010.
That's insane. Yeah, I once noted. I once saw a Baltimore cop talking to a group of teenagers. Well, not teenagers. They're probably in their 20s, but. One of them is Caucasian. Now, Baltimore is not like DC. Like the local population of DC is very much African American. In Baltimore, it's like 60-40. It's like more mixed. Well, there's one of the people walking is probably of Irish descent, I'm guessing. They've got tattoos all over their. They're clearly also in the hip hop community. Like, with the way they're dressed, covered in tattoos, I wouldn't have looked at the person and been like, that person is, you know, paper white, and here's a car loan. Like, they clearly look like if the people that they're with are into this, that, and the other, they're into exactly the same thing. And the cop says to them, "What are you doing here? This is a black neighborhood. You're white." I'm thinking, did I just hear a cop say that? Like, this person looks like a hood, no matter what color they are. They're covered in all the tattoos. If they are not a hood, they have like done all their research because they perfectly fit in there. And the cop didn't see that. The cop only saw skin color and was like, You belong on a Wheaties box. What are you doing here in this neighborhood? And that there is a problem with institutional racism. I will agree on that.
I have to say the trickiest part for both of you too is neither of you have really experienced each other's true experience, and for everything that you've experienced, you have not experienced what any of the other people's lives are. Same thing with you. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, there is that.
I have experienced being pulled over constantly just for having.
Well, I'm saying, but it's still different. It's still a different experience. In
Ohio, if you've driven in Ohio, you'll get pulled over for crazy reasons. I'm sure if I had a customer,
I've driven through Ohio many times.
I'm sure if you had a passenger, I'm sure if I had a passenger in Ohio, they would have asked if
That's so. I always try to throw this into every conversation about race and everything else. Is the simplest thing is. There's no way for me to actually honestly have any relations. Even just him. Earlier today we talked about how he was beat up by kids with rocks for being Asian as a kid. Never happened to me. I grew up in China. For one thing, I saw some white kids fighting in the...
Probably wouldn't happen in China.
It definitely didn't happen because I was Asian if I got beaten up. But I didn't
get beaten Chinese.
Yeah,
stop being like
it didn't happen. So just imagine that environment.
He did say he could be the most Chinese in the crowd.
Yeah. Imagine being in an environment where you never experienced that. And then coming to this country and seeing... from other people's perspective, all these experiences, but at the same time, still fully aware, I'm not like any of you, like, I guess most of the people in the room, I'm not like any of you, and I can't completely judge that person just because of my own experiences. At the same time, yes, if I experience something shitty, I'm gonna have a feeling about it. I'm gonna have opinions.
Yeah.
And it's balancing between what you're feeling now and then sort of the bigger, whatever bigger picture it is. And every time I hear people talk about race, and I've definitely heard both your guys' perspective many a times from other people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I never felt like anybody was wrong.
Yeah.
It always feels like, shit, there's a lot more going on. And I really wish I had the ability to grasp all of it, but at the same time,
I just think, well, you know, and I get what you're saying, and it is one of those things. I always try to put myself in different perspectives, and I think it is sort of funny that, like, me being a person who, you know, is from a very diverse situation, very diverse family, and like in my spin-off to this anti-social news, the first thing I did was get in a flame war with the alt-right, where I've got, you know, white supremacists yelling at me on comment sections and then forums and stuff like that. I mean, like, I am, like, as anti-racist as it comes, and then to be like, you know, people literally saying, the color of your skin defines how you see the world, and it's like, you know, it just, it always, for me, that completely ruined the mindset of like, oh, I'm gonna help out every person, and hey, recording, come on in.
You jump in if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs help on this side.
What's going on?
Okay, we're talking about like race and
reacting to the video.
We're reacting to.
oh, this is not even about the JKNews.
Yeah,
No,
it's gone like way off the rails.
It's gone on a different.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Take a shit.
Let's take a peek.
Okay.
Cool.
Be noisy. Leave the door open. Okay, I'm kidding.
I mean, do you want me to? Because I don't mind.
Can you like hold it for a bit and then just shoot it out as hard as you can?
Come on.
Oh yeah, do it. Touch
Straight
and go.
into the
Touch and
water.
go.
Touch and go.
Straight into
Do
the
it.
water.
Do it.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So, but yeah, for me, that's what kind of ruined a lot of this for me, because like growing up, I always thought like, you know, racists were the biggest bad guys on the planet, and then like, you know, being told multiple times like, you're a racist, literally just because of the color of my skin, it was like, oh, okay, maybe a lot of what I was, you know, afraid of and like thought I was against as a child was exaggerated by people that just wanted to fight. So that was what happened to me.
I just want to say that
yeah.
I actually technically am a racist.
Well, you are in a band that is a racial
I'm not racist against. Oh, I'm totally racist against Asians.
I think
I'm
that
totally racist.
well, part of the problem is we live in a society that has been founded on like white supremacy and like has these things. So I think we all kind of engage in society with some certain biases. So it's just important that for us to recognize that, say like, oh, I need to check this idea. Like, where did it come from, and why do I think this way, and think more deeply about it.
Okay.
It's just like that.
I've also
Oh, you have
enjoyed
implicit bias.
chatting with, like, you know, families of people that I've known that are slightly more racist than the people that I know. And again, like, just being able to talk to them and being like, oh, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I get you. I'm like, am I one of them? It's okay if I am.
I think it allows you to be empathetic to other
Yeah.
views, and I think it's important.
Especially if you're raised in a certain area, if you're raised a certain way, and you come to adulthood with opinions that, honestly, if you don't know any better, I don't blame them for it.
Well, it's one of those things too. I had a military buddy, you know, explain the concept of being proud of being white, which for me, the way I was raised, like when I heard that, instant all the red flags. Like, this guy is a
white
racist.
pride,
This guy, yeah, I'm thinking this guy's a racist. He's a Klansman, all this stuff. And he explained to me, he's like, listen, you know, I'm from the backwoods of Georgia, and I just want you to know, like, you know, I'm in the Navy, served with black guys, love them like brothers, but like, I just like that I'm white. Like, and he like explained, he's like, I don't see anything, I don't think I'm better than anyone. And like the way he broke it down, I was like, you know, and I mean, it never got to like blows or yelling. Like, I wasn't like, you're wrong. And, you know, I just sort of like listened to him, and I was like, it kind of like chilled me out, because I was like, you know, because almost all whenever you hear somebody say like stuff like that, it gets like 2 steps in, and they're like, and the real problem is the Jews. That's like always. It always is like one thing leading to another. But he just was like totally even keel, and I was like, and yeah, just like you said,
we had a convention talk where we talked about stereotypes and everything else.
Oh,
this
morning.
No, not this morning, but we had one back in whatever's, and I remember actually having conversations where people were sharing like about their own backgrounds and like basically the idea of being white is more than that, and even there was a time where people weren't white; they were whatever their backgrounds was, and it wasn't until slavery that even became a thing. It's just
it's a social concept, social construct. Yeah, that people invented the idea of being white solely because they didn't want to be black, because they didn't want to be
power struggle. Yeah, that amazing video, the race baiting 101 video made by I can't remember. It was a real intelligent, like I can't remember what I think it was. As a liberal think tank that put it out explaining that, like how.
Doesn't sound familiar.
I'll try to find that and put a link to it. Incredible
but there's a number
video.
of like ideas about this. Like, hey, this was actually invented. The idea of being white was invented.
Well, all this stuff is political.
It's also
it's all political.
And that's
because that is one of those things where if you tell somebody, their whole life this, that, and the other, that they can only achieve this much, or they can only do this much.
It's about power dynamics and who gets to control these kinds of ideas.
This is happening right now. We're doing this right now while there is an alt-right.
Yeah, Nazi march. Not alt-right. Straight up Nazis.
Full-on march
in Virginia.
No. That got scooted off. There was a nasty situation there though.
It lasted.
The car thing.
Ran over people,
yeah.
people.
So I was
going to say something about that.
Anti-racist peaceful protest.
If it was about understanding your own culture and celebrating the culture, it would be a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should absolutely be prideful of your culture.
Well, that's where I do.
Just when you have torches and pitchforks.
Yeah, if you're screaming at people and using.
Well, and all those people, all the alt-right people, are the most ridiculous. They have no self-awareness in the. This has officially become anti-social news because I just picked the fight.
Is that where the party is?
No. Oh, what time is that? That we gotta get there.
It's at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Are we live streaming?
We're live streaming. We are live streaming.
This is live stream?
It is
fun.
Live streaming.
I'm at 50 right now.
Okay.
So I need to go get some lead.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So.
You really thought this was
recessive gene eyes? I don't know. It doesn't work.
We're almost done. We're almost done. We're almost done. We're almost done.
Start over again.
I started. Let's do like 5 seconds.
JKNews.
5 seconds.
Recessive gene eyes? I don't know. It doesn't work.
With the ER.
Yeah, nothing really cuts.
I've got ginger with the ER.
What's up, my ginger?
Oh.
No, he's talking about.
He's talking about like
DJ
white people.
Chow Mein.
My bad.
What up, guys? I'm assuming that you watch this show because
We
you
made
think we're a
it.
bunch
We
of
made it
interesting
through.
motherfuckers. Why not
We
follow?
made it through the JKNews video. We've talked about so much more. Holy crap! Okay, and we're all starving. And wow, there was a point about to be made before you needed food more than
food.
all the rest of us.
No, I need food more than all the rest of you.
Okay.
I had one hamburger today.
Yeah, I had a $13 smoothie.
A smoothie.
What'd you get?
At like 8 in the morning.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't get up to go with us to China Boy.
Yeah, so we skipped dumplings.
The alt-right people, they literally say stuff like Heil Hitler, and they do not understand why their message has not unified the right. They're always like, we want to unify the right. Well, I don't know why everyone can't get on board with killing all white people that aren't exactly white enough.
That with the whole idea of the pride part, and they're missing the point.
That's the thing.
But that's just the least of their problems.
And I'm personally a genetic libertarian. I think it's about what you do in life. That is what you should be proud of. And you guys are amazing musicians. Amazing musician. Amazing singer. Amazing sound guy. Come here. Could you come into the camera, please? Oh my gosh. Amazing sound good. Please introduce yourself for JK News and the podcast. We are yelling at JK News.
Hi, JKNews.
We're not
My name is
yelling.
Peter.
Yelling at
I'm
him.
a sound engineer
Yes.
and stuff. I make stuff happen. I make sure things get done. I make sure Tim is happy.
He looks nervous. Rub his shoulders. All right. Thank you so much.
We're not yelling at you, JKNews.
I'm yelling at you.
Peter's yelling at you.
We absolutely love you, JK News. Thank you for mentioning the slants, and I hope you enjoy this reaction video, which got really, really deep at different points. Thank you, thank you, Simon Tam.
This is actually very much like the news. He was trying to create headlines.
Yes.
And he's trying to make it.
Shots
no,
fired!
Shots fired!
I'm
firing shots at anti-social news and the podcast.
You're breaking the news.
Oh, shots fired!
Oh no, shots fired.
Why did you make your face much bigger?
I made my face bigger.
To cover up everything.
Yeah, to cover up everything else. All right, no. This is Sully for the podcast and anti-social news and chiming out. Keep talking it out. Bye bye.